I still remember the exact moment when my parents promised they would support me through college. I was 14, sitting at our kitchen table, and they smiled at me with such warmth. Fast forward 4 years. I was 18, acceptance letter in hand from Oregon State University for mechanical engineering scholarship covering $12,000. I needed $18,000 more. That night at dinner, everything changed. My father looked down at his plate and said we needed to talk. My mother told me the cafe needed me more than college did. They said I could go later. My sister needed a beautiful wedding someday, and they had to save for that. I thought it would be temporary. I was wrong. 8 years disappeared while I watched my friends graduate, build careers, and move forward. I stayed behind, making coffee, living someone else's dream instead of my own. Before I continue with what happened next, I would love to know where you are watching this from. Drop your location in the comments below. If you are enjoying this story so far, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Trust me, what comes next will show you exactly how family betrayal feels when the bill finally comes due. The Riverside Cafe sat on a quiet corner in Portland, Oregon. My father, Frank, opened it when I was 10 years old. The place smelled like fresh coffee and baked croissants every morning. My mother, Gloria, handled the books and managed inventory. My sister, Amber, was 3 years younger than me, and from the moment she could walk, she was the center of everything. I learned early that Amber got what Amber wanted. Growing up, I actually enjoyed helping at the cafe after school. I would wipe down tables, restock napkins, and my father would ruffle my hair and say this was all for my future. He told me the business would help pay for college. My mother reinforced it constantly. She would sit with me during homework and say I was smart, that I would go to a great university, that they would make sure of it. I believed them completely. Why would I not? They were my parents. I worked hard through high school. I maintained a 3.8 GPA. I played on the basketball team. I volunteered at the community center on weekends. I did everything right because I trusted that my future was secure. My parents had promised, and I built my entire life around that promise. The spring of my senior year, I applied to Oregon State University. When the acceptance letter arrived, my hands shook as I opened it. Mechanical engineering. Full acceptance. Partial scholarship of $12,000 per year. I needed another $18,000 for tuition and living expenses. It felt manageable. My parents had been saving after all. That is what they told me. I brought the letter to dinner that Friday night. I was so excited I could barely sit still. I placed the letter on the table between the mashed potatoes and the roast chicken. I looked at my father, then my mother, waiting for their reaction. My father glanced at the letter. He did not pick it up. He did not smile. He just stared at his food. My mother cleared her throat. "Carter," she said, "we need to have a serious conversation." My stomach dropped. I knew that tone. It was the tone she used when something was wrong. My father finally spoke. "The cafe is expanding," he said. "Jake, our main employee, is leaving next month. We cannot afford to hire someone new and train them. We need you here. You can go to college later." My brain could not process what he was saying. "Later." "But you promised," I said. My voice cracked. My mother cut me off. "We never said we would pay Carter. We said we would support you. Supporting you means you work now, save money, and go when you are ready. You are 18. You are old enough to understand priorities." I looked at Amber, who was 15 at the time. She was scrolling through her phone, completely unbothered. "What about Amber?" I asked. "What about her future?" That was when my father said the words that would stay with me forever. "Amber is different," he said. "She is going to need a beautiful wedding someday. Boys will want to marry her. That costs money. We have to think ahead. You are a man, Carter. You can work first and study later. Amber needs us more." I felt like someone had punched me in the chest. "What about my future?" I asked again. My mother sighed like I was being difficult. "You have a future," she said. "It is just delayed. Stop being selfish." I wanted to argue. I wanted to yell. But I had been raised to respect my parents, to obey them, to trust that they knew best. So I swallowed my anger and my disappointment. I told myself it would only be 1 year. I could save money, reapply, and start fresh. 1 year turned into 2, then 3, then 8. I started working full-time at the Riverside Cafe the week after graduation. My schedule was brutal. 6 in the morning until 9 at night, 6 days a week. My father paid me $11 an hour, which was minimum wage back then. He said there would be bonuses if the cafe did well. Those bonuses never came. Every time I brought it up, my mother would say they were saving for the family and I needed to be patient. I watched my friends leave for college that fall. I saw their posts on social media, dorm rooms decorated with posters, late-night study sessions, football games, new friendships. I was stuck behind a counter steaming milk and taking orders from people who barely noticed I existed. I felt invisible. But I kept telling myself it was temporary. Next year would be different. It was not different. When I turned 19, I asked my father again about college. He said the timing was not right. The cafe had expanded the menu and they needed me more than ever. My mother told me not to be selfish. Family comes first, she said. I tried to accept it. I tried to believe them. But something inside me was starting to break. Then Amber turned 17. That was when I started to see the truth. She applied to the University of Washington for communications. She did not have any scholarships. The tuition was $25,000 per year. When her acceptance letter came, my parents celebrated like she had won the lottery. My mother opened a bottle of champagne. My father called all our relatives to brag. They did not hesitate for a single second. They paid her tuition in full. I was 21 when Amber left for college. I asked my mother point blank at the dinner table, "Why can she go, but I cannot?" She looked at me like I had asked the stupidest question in the world. She is a girl. "Carter, she needs an education to find a good husband. You can work and learn on the job." My father added, "Stop being jealous of your sister. It does not look good on you." I stopped asking after that. I realized the truth. I was never going to college. Not with their help. I was the son. I was expendable. I was the one who could sacrifice because Amber was precious. Amber was the future. I was just the worker. So I focused on surviving. I worked my shifts. I came home exhausted every night. I saved what little I could, but it was never enough. My father would come to me every few months with some emergency. The espresso machine broke. The lease went up. The supplier increased prices. He needed to borrow money. Just for a little while, he would say, "I will pay you back." I gave him money 8 times over 4 years. He never paid me back. Not once. I kept track in a notebook. $8,300. Gone. Meanwhile, Amber thrived. She graduated with her communications degree. My parents threw her a massive party. They spent $5,000 on catering decorations and a DJ. When I turned 23, no one remembered my birthday. When I turned 24, I bought myself a cupcake from the grocery store and ate it alone in my apartment. Amber got a new car when she graduated. A Honda Civic paid in full by my parents. I was still driving a 2005 battered sedan that broke down every other month. Every achievement Amber had was celebrated. Every milestone I reached was invisible. But I was learning. I started taking online business courses at night after my shifts. I taught myself about management operations and marketing. I applied what I learned to the cafe. I set up an online ordering system. I created a social media presence. I introduced loyalty programs. Within 6 months, the revenue increased by 40%. My father never acknowledged it. He would just say, "I built this place. You are just helping." When I turned 26, I made a decision. I applied for a job at a logistics company in Portland. Operations coordinator. $45,000 a year. It was double what I made at the cafe. When I got the offer, I felt something I had not felt in years. Hope. I gave my parents 2 weeks' notice. They were furious. My father shouted at me in the middle of the cafe. "You are abandoning this family," he said, "after everything we have done for you." My mother cried. She called me ungrateful. She said they sacrificed everything for me. I looked at her and said, "You sacrificed me for Amber. There is a difference." Then I walked out. The next 2 years were the best of my life. I worked hard at the logistics company. I got promoted to logistics manager. My salary jumped to $62,000 a year. I rented my own apartment across town. I barely spoke to my parents. A text on Christmas, a call on their birthdays. Nothing more. I was finally free. Then everything came crashing back. I was 28 when my mother called me on a Friday night. Her voice was sweet, which immediately made me suspicious. "Carter." "Honey," she said, "we miss you so much. Can you come home for dinner this Sunday? We want to see you." I should have said no, but part of me, the part that still wanted to believe in family, said yes. Sunday dinner was a trap. I knew it the moment I walked in. My father was there. My mother was there. Amber was there with her boyfriend Dylan. He worked in marketing and seemed decent enough. Everyone was smiling. The table was set beautifully. We sat down and the conversation flowed easily at first. Amber talked about her engagement. Dylan had proposed 3 weeks earlier. She showed me the ring. It was huge. She talked about her dream wedding. Napa Valley, she said. A vineyard ceremony. 200 guests. Full catering. Live band. It is going to be perfect. Then my mother turned to me. "Carter, we need to talk about the wedding budget." I set down my fork. "Okay," I said slowly. My father leaned forward. "The total cost is $135,000. We have saved some money, but we need you to contribute." My heart started pounding. Contribute how much I asked. My mother smiled. $70,000. We have 65 saved. You are her brother. This is your duty. I stared at them. $70,000? Are you serious? My father nodded like it was the most reasonable thing in the world. Amber deserves the wedding of her dreams. You have a good job now. You can afford it. I felt the anger rising in my chest. You refused to pay a single dollar for my education, I said. Now you want $70,000 for a wedding. My father's face turned red. That was different, he said. You are a man. You can earn your own money. Amber's wedding is once in a lifetime. Amber looked at me with tears in her eyes. Carter, please do not be selfish. I have always looked up to you. I almost laughed. You looked up to me, I said. You looked up to me while I worked at the cafe for 8 years so you could go to college for free. My mother slammed her hand on the table. We did what was best for this family, she said. Now it is your turn to give back. Stop being difficult. Dylan sat silent, staring at his plate. I looked at each of them. My parents, who chose my sister over me every single time. Amber, who took everything and never questioned why. I thought about the 8 years I lost. The friends who graduated without me. The career I should have had. The life I could have built. Then I stood up. I spoke slowly and clearly. I will give you the exact answer you once gave me. The room went silent. Every eye was on me. I could feel my heartbeat in my ears, but my voice stayed calm. You told me, I said, looking directly at my parents, that you never said you would pay for my college. You told me it could wait. You told me the family needed me more. I paused. Now I am telling you the same thing. I never said I would pay for Amber's wedding. Her dream can wait. My future needs me more. My mother's face went pale. Carter, you cannot be serious. My father stood up his chair, scraping loudly against the floor. How dare you compare your education to your sister's wedding, he shouted. They are not the same thing. I looked at him. You are right, I said. They are not the same. An education builds a future. A wedding is one day, and you chose to fund her entire future while taking mine away. Amber started crying. I thought you loved me, she said between sobs. I do love you, I said. But love does not mean I have to bankrupt myself for a party. Dylan shifted uncomfortably. He looked like he wanted to disappear. I pulled a folder out of my bag. I had prepared for this. Inside was a spreadsheet. I laid it on the table. This, I said, is every time you asked me for money for the cafe. Every emergency. Every unexpected expense. The dates are here. The amounts are here. You borrowed $8,300 from me over 4 years. You promised to pay me back. You never did. My father waved his hand dismissively. That was for the family business. You benefited too. I shook my head. I worked 80 hours a week for $11 an hour. I did not benefit. You did. I turned to Amber. You got $25,000 a year for college. 4 years. That is $100,000. You got a car worth $15,000. You got a graduation party that cost $5,000. You have received $120,000 from our parents in the last 7 years. I got nothing. Amber wiped her eyes. That is not my fault, she whispered. You are right, I said. It is not your fault. It is theirs. I pointed at my parents. They made a choice. They decided you were worth investing in, and I was not. Now they want me to pay for your wedding. I looked back at my father. You want $70,000 from me? Fine. Here is my offer. First, pay me back the $8,300 you owe me. Second, pay me $150,000 for the 8 years of education and opportunities I lost because I worked at your cafe instead of going to college. After you do that, I will consider contributing to the wedding. My father sputtered. That is ridiculous. You cannot put a price on family. I can, I said. You already did. You priced me at $11 an hour for 8 years. You priced Amber at $120,000 and counting. My mother started crying. You are tearing this family apart. No, I said. You did that a long time ago. I just stopped pretending it was okay. I picked up my folder. Since you cannot pay me what you owe, my answer is no. Amber, you are 25. Dylan has a job. You have a degree. Figure it out yourselves. I am done being the invisible son who only matters when you need money. I walked to the door. My father shouted after me. You will regret this when we are gone. I turned back one last time. Maybe I said, but I will not regret choosing myself. I left. I did not look back. My phone started ringing before I even got to my car. I ignored it. The calls kept coming. My mother, my father, Amber. Over and over. I drove home, walked into my apartment, and blocked all 3 of their numbers. The next few days were chaos. My mother left voicemails ranging from angry to pleading. You are destroying this family, she said in one. We raised you better than this, she said in another. My father sent texts. You are selfish. You are ungrateful. You are a disappointment. I deleted every message without reading past the first line. Amber sent me a long text 3 days later. She said I was ruining her dream wedding. She said I was bitter and jealous. She said she always thought I was a good person, but now she knew the truth. I replied with one sentence. I am not jealous. I am done being used. Then I blocked her too. A week later, Dylan reached out. He sent me a message on a platform I had forgotten I even had. Hey, Carter, can we talk? I was surprised but curious. We met at a coffee shop downtown. He looked uncomfortable. I did not know the whole story, he said. Amber told me you were just being difficult about money. But after that dinner, I started asking questions. I looked into what happened. He paused. Your family's treatment of you is wrong. I appreciated his honesty. It is what it is, I said. He shook his head. No, it is not okay. I have been thinking a lot about what kind of family I am marrying into. If they could treat their own son like that, how will they treat me? How will they treat our kids someday? I did not respond. It was not my place. but I could see he was genuinely conflicted. A month later, I heard through a mutual acquaintance that Dylan and Amber had broken up. He could not move past what he had seen at that dinner. Amber was devastated, and of course she blamed me. I heard from an old co-worker at the cafe that my parents were telling everyone I had sabotaged Amber's relationship, that I was jealous and cruel, that I turned her fiancé against her. The story got back to me in pieces, and every version painted me as the villain. I did not care anymore. Let them think what they wanted. I knew the truth. 3 months after that dinner, I got promoted again. Senior logistics manager, $78,000 a year. I started traveling for work. Seattle, San Francisco. I even took a vacation to Hawaii, something I had dreamed about since I was 15 but never had the time or money to do. I stood on a beach in Maui and realized I was happy. Genuinely happy. For the first time in years, I was not carrying anyone else's expectations. 6 months after the breakup, I met Sarah at a networking event. She was a project manager, 30 years old, smart, and independent. We started talking about work, and somehow the conversation shifted to family. She told me about her complicated relationship with her parents. I told her a little about mine. Not everything, just enough. We connected over the shared experience of having to set boundaries with people who were supposed to love us unconditionally. We started dating slowly. No rush, no pressure, just two people figuring out if they fit. She met my friends. I met hers. It felt healthy. It felt right. For the first time, I was building something that was mine, not something someone else decided I should have. A year after I walked out of that dinner, I enrolled in a part-time MBA program at Portland State University. I paid for it myself. Every single dollar came from my own paycheck. No one helped me. No one needed to. I went to classes at night after work. I studied on weekends. It was exhausting, but it was mine. I felt proud in a way I had never felt before. I heard through the grapevine that the Riverside Cafe was struggling. Without me, there to manage operations and marketing, the revenue had dropped. My father had tried to hire someone, but no one stayed long. The online systems I had set up were falling apart because no one knew how to maintain them. Part of me felt vindicated. Another part just felt sad. It did not have to be this way. Amber was still single. I did not follow her life closely, but occasionally someone would mention her in passing. She had tried dating a few people, but nothing stuck. My parents were apparently still telling everyone that I had ruined her life. I stopped caring what they said. Their opinions no longer had power over me. 2 years after that dinner, I finished my MBA. I graduated with honors. Sarah was there cheering for me in the audience. My friends threw me a small party. It was perfect. A week later, I got a job offer from a larger logistics firm. Operations director, $95,000 a year. I accepted immediately. Sarah and I got engaged shortly after. We planned a small wedding. Intimate, just close friends. We rented a beautiful venue overlooking the Columbia River. Everything was simple and meaningful. I did not invite my parents. I did not invite Amber. It was not out of spite. It was out of self-preservation. I wanted my wedding day to be about love and joy, not about reopening old wounds. Then, 3 weeks before the wedding, a letter arrived. It was from my father, handwritten, 3 pages long. I almost threw it away without reading it, but something made me open it. He wrote about regret. He said he had been wrong. He admitted that he and my mother had treated me unfairly. He said they had prioritized Amber because they thought she needed more protection, more support. He said they never realized how much they were hurting me. He apologized. He asked if he could come to my wedding. I read the letter twice. I felt a lot of things: anger, sadness, relief, confusion. I showed it to Sarah. "What do you think I asked?" She read it carefully. "It is your choice," she said, "but make sure you are doing it for you, not for them." I thought about it for days. Finally, I made a decision. I called my father. We met at a neutral location. A park bench near the river. He looked older than I remembered, grayer, tired. We sat in silence for a few minutes. Then he spoke. "I meant everything I wrote," he said. "I know I cannot undo the past, but I want to try to be better." I looked at him. "Why now?" I asked. He sighed. "Watching you walk away made me realize what I lost. Watching Amber struggle made me realize that we failed both of you. We made you responsible for her happiness, and we made her dependent on us. Neither of you got what you needed." I appreciated his honesty. It did not erase the pain, but it was a start. "You and Mom can come to the wedding," I said. "But I need you to understand something. I'm not the son I was 8 years ago. I have boundaries now. I will not let you cross them." He nodded. "I understand. We will respect that." I stood up. "Good," I said. "See you at the wedding." My parents came to the wedding. They sat quietly in the back. They did not try to take over. They did not make it about them. After the ceremony, my mother hugged me. "I am so proud of you," she whispered. It felt strange to hear her say that. Part of me wanted to believe her. Another part knew it was too late for those words to mean what they once would have. Amber did not come. I had not invited her, and she did not reach out. I heard later that she was upset about it, but I did not feel guilty. She had made her choices. I had made mine. Now, 3 years after that terrible dinner, I look back and see everything clearly. Family should lift you up, not hold you down. Love is not about sacrifice without recognition. You cannot pour from an empty cup. I learned that the hard way. I gave 8 years of my life to people who saw me as a resource, not a person. I let them take my dreams because I thought that was what family meant. Setting boundaries is not selfish. It is self-respect. I do not regret saying no. I do not regret walking away. I regret that it took me so long to do it. Sometimes the people who hurt you the most are the ones who should protect you the most. That is the hardest truth to accept. But accepting it set me free. I forgave my parents, but I will never forget what they chose. Forgiveness does not mean pretending it did not happen. It means letting go of the anger so it does not poison your future. Amber and I have not spoken in over 2 years. Maybe one day we will. Maybe not. I am okay with either outcome. She has to decide if she wants a relationship with me, and it has to be on equal terms. Not as the brother who owes her something, just as 2 people who share history. What I learned through all of this is simple. You teach people how to treat you by what you accept. I accepted being invisible for 8 years. The moment I said no, everything changed. The moment I chose myself, my life began. If you are in a situation where you feel unseen, unheard, or undervalued, ask yourself this question. Am I living my life, or am I living someone else's dream? The answer might hurt. It might be painful to admit, but it will also set you free. Sometimes the greatest act of love you can give yourself is walking away from people who do not see your worth, even if those people are family, especially if those people are family, because you deserve more than being someone's backup plan. You deserve to be the priority in your own life. I did not get the college experience I wanted. I did not get the family I deserved. But I got something better. I got myself back. And that is worth more than anything they could have given me. So let me ask you this. Have you ever been in a situation where you had to choose between family loyalty and your own future? How did you handle it? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I would love to hear your stories. If this resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Share this video with someone who might need to hear it. Sometimes we all need a reminder that it is okay to put ourselves first. Thank you so much for listening to my story. I hope it gives you the courage to set your own boundaries and live your own life. Take care of yourselves and remember you are worth fighting for.